Honorable Chairman, PHEC, respected Vice Chancellors, ladies and gentlemen, and my most respected panelists, Assalamu alaikum. It is a great honor for me to be part of this wonderful and magnificent conference, which is in collaboration arranged, organized by the Center for Peace and Secular Studies also. And I would like to congratulate both the PHEC and the Center for this conference. Today's topic of discussion has been said, is creating gender inclusive environments for promoting conducive environments and peace in the society. As we understand that gender inclusive environment, it's the opportunities, it's the resources which are open to everyone in a society, present in a society, and also breaking the stereotypes, the gender stereotypes, which comes as a hurdle, and the societal roles and expectations are not defined by these gender stereotypes. So for today's discussion, we will be unbreaking, we will be redefining these constructs, and we will be learning more from our honorable panelists about how they have converted these gender stereotypes and how they have actually been role models in their fields. And also we will be highlighting some of the key features of a gender inclusive society also. So I will start with the introduction. Me as I has been introduced, Professor Dr. Raana Malik. I am the chairperson, Department of Gender Studies, Punjab University. I am associated with this department and the field of gender studies since the last 23 years now. And since then, the Department of Gender Studies is striving for gender equity and equality in the society, and particularly giving awareness about the human rights to the students. The department presently is offering PhD in Gender Studies, MPhil, MS in Gender Studies, MA, which is been replaced by the AGP program now, ADP in Gender Studies, and BS Gender Studies. And recently we have launched a new program, Gender and Climate Change in Gender Studies. So, I would like the participants to please introduce themselves.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Iqra, and I'm a broadcast journalist and anchor person, currently working for the channel JNN. Before that, I was used to work for Pakistan leading channels like Duniya's 24 and Discover Pakistan. I'm also an alumni of Pakistan US Alumni Network and headed the Punjab chapter for the 2 years, and I teach as well.
Thank you. My name is Babar Yaqub. Currently I am working in the Berkeley Institute of Public Policy in Lahore. But today I will be discussing certain issues with you, and these relate to electoral politics and women's role in electoral politics. And why I think I should discuss this with you is because for 5 years I had the opportunity to serve as Secretary Election Commissioner of Pakistan, and I saw the elections of 2018 take place, good or bad, but that was general election. So I'll share certain insights with you, and perhaps you would be interested to know perhaps more detail, particularly with reference to empowering women through electoral politics.
Thanks so much. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Sumaira. I'm currently Secretary Women Development Department, and I've been there for more than a year now, and I've been a civil servant for 30 years now, and before this I was Secretary Social Welfare, and before that Secretary Literacy and Non-Formal Basic Education. So yes, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be here and speak about the work that we're doing at the Women Development Department.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zeeshan. I'm the founder of American National School System, again the founder of one of the incredible women CEOs of Pakistan. I have gifted a book that is lying in front of you. I hope to it, and it's a journey of lot many women in their idea of taking up a career and starting something bigger in life than them. Again, again, I'm the founder and representative of Southland Foundation USA, representing tourism for Pakistan. It's basically my main representation or my ambassadorship as a person is for Pakistan, women, and the beauty fair. So this is what I'm going to discuss with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a very brief, and we will be hearing more from our panelists definitely during the discussion. So I would like to start the discussion with the topic we have, that is gender inclusiveness. Gender inclusiveness, as I said, it's providing the opportunities, the resources to all the people in the society. When we say all the people, it not only includes the male and the females, definitely it includes all the genders which are around us and which somehow or other are ignored, generally ignored, mostly ignored by most of us, not all of us, but most of us. So they become a vulnerable group in a society. So I think this is a high time to see that how in our local context, in our indigenous context, how we define gender firstly. What we mean by gender as it's been defined by the roles and the responsibilities which society ascribe to a person. So how do we in Pakistan see gender and what we mean by masculinity and what we mean by femininity, and then what are the gender stereotypes which become a hurdle in creating a gender inclusive society. So I would like to start with you, Madam Sumaira, that what do you see gender in our local context?
Thank you so much. Exactly like you said, that we keep sort of just stressing this thing. When we have our trainings at the department as well, we talk about the fact that sex is biologically determined, like male, female, transgender. However, gender is a social construct, and it is sort of it changes and it is over time and in different countries and regions, and it is something which does change and should change. And so when we say that, it comes like a revelation to people that a lot of people have never heard or thought, heard these things or thought about it. So so our department, Women Development Department, it was established in 2012 for the express purpose of gender mainstreaming. It was established as a separate department because this discourse about gender was relatively new and people did not have much understanding of it. So we had to do a lot of work, and that is why otherwise gender obviously is not confined to a certain department, it is everywhere. And sort of our ultimate goal is for it to be mainstream in all sectors and sort of obviously public and private and everywhere primarily. The fact that we do live in a society where the sex and gender have been kind of are enmeshed, and very specific ideas and roles have been assigned, and people kind of tag those roles to sort of morality. And when there's any deviation, then there's a sort of a threat involved with that, and there's a lot of resistance to change. And so that is exactly what, and so this is for changing this this attitude and sort of moving towards a gender equal society. It involves the effort of everybody, the state and the non-state people, the organizations, private sector, education, more than anything else. And also in the public sector, it's very important because the scale of the public sector is so huge, and so the penetration of the public sector is so huge to understand this thing that and people have lots of questions. A lot of very well-meaning people actually also sort of have a confusion about these areas. So I think dialogue, discourse, training. And then the most important thing, I think, is a narrative building. And whenever we assign importance to something, we hear a lot about that. We see it a lot in media, everywhere, in education. And that really helps. So we see that a lot of times, in many places, women are, I'm talking about women because obviously I'm from the women department, obviously, but we talk about other sort of genders as well. We see a lot of time in our media, for example, that women are sort of shown in very unhealthy sort of situations and roles, and a lot of stereotyping is reinforced. So I think it is extremely important to build a very positive, healthy and gender narrative which kind of promotes gender equality, and to stress the fact that gender equality is for both men and women. It's not a fight, it's not a battle. It's a collective effort to have a more just and fair society. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Baba Sahab, if I will ask you what role actually the agents of socialization we have when we talk about the gender and when we see the ascribed roles and responsibilities which are ascribed by the society to a child when he or she is born. So what role does the agents of socialization, which is family and the other institutions around us, what role they have defining gender?
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I must confess that I'm really impressed, and I thank Dr. Sharmanisa for this great initiative of holding this discussion. Well, I thought that as I indicated earlier, that I would share my views about how women actually are allowed or not allowed to participate in electoral politics. That was, you see, it still is some people have called it participatory puzzle of Pakistan, the electoral participatory puzzle. This term was actually used by a US think tank called US Institute of Peace, and they, while analyzing the electoral scenario of Pakistan, they thought that why women do not participate in elections. So we in Election Commission, we believe the figures are still the same. For instance, the women population in Pakistan is, if it is 48% or 49%, but women registered as voters is 42% or 43%. This means that almost like 120 million women are not registered as voters. On the other hand, when it comes to actually casting votes, the ratio of women casting votes is 39%. And men casting votes is 60%. So we have calculated that out of 50 million eligible women or 55 million eligible women, 120 are straightway discarded as non-registered voters, and then another 20 million women do not come out to vote, which means that the electoral politics has been left in the hands of the male population. Now, if you typically ask, let's say if you go to the Election Commission of Pakistan, if you go to political parties, everybody will say, and over here also perhaps some of us will believe, that it is the society. The people do not want you to vote, they do not want you to get out to vote. But my view is, and my recommendation is, that it is basically state failure. You see, in public policy, we should not surrender to customs in this sense that there is nothing wrong in going out to vote, absolutely. It is the responsibility of the state to make sure that women go out to vote. I'll give you just an example that in the 2018 elections, for the first time we interacted with various other genders also. And I didn't know this fact that we asked these categories of, you can say, genders, that why don't you go to vote? They said it's because people ridicule us when we go to vote. So the one option for Election Commission was to issue instructions that there will be 3 or 4 queues at a polling station for older people, for disabled people, for men, for women, and for other genders also, so that they are not ridiculed. But it is easier said than done. They still do not go out to vote. Now, coming back to the main question, that the issue of registration of votes, you see what the Indians did in 1951. Their first election was, that is why how India became democratic. I think it's a big question we always ask as Pakistanis, why they are democratic and why we are not democratic. What they did was that before 1951, they carried a door-to-door, village-to-village survey, and each and every person was registered. Whoever said that I am above 21, he or she was registered as voter. Whether their name, the lady, you see, the interesting thing was that there were a huge number of ladies who didn't want to tell their names actually because of parda and all. So they said, okay, we'll register you as Mrs. Hariram or Mother of Hariram or whatever, but still you will be registered as a voter. The next question was of citizenship. How should we prove that you are a citizen of India? So they said that, okay, we'll trust you, but still we'll let you be registered as a voter. Now what we have over here is a big issue, that we have two offices which deal with the registration of a vote. One is NADRA and other is Election Commission of Pakistan. Now there are 120 million women who are not registered as voters. And you will be again amazed to know that these women are not living in Dera Bhuti or in Tank or Bajod. No, not necessarily. If you go through these surveys, you will be amazed to know that these women are living in Gulbarg, in F6, in DHA Karachi also. So you see, this poses two questions. Whether these segments of society are disinterested with politics, they do not want to be registered as voters, or the state has failed to reach out to them. So the first recommendation, or my very strong opinion, is that we must make sure that, like India or Sri Lanka or other countries, women should be registered as voters at par with men, and they should be provided every opportunity to cast their votes. You see, what happens is that due to the lack of participation, the decision making, again, the political decision making is not in the hands of women at all. Now of course, we know that there have been great leaders. We know Fatma Jinnah Sahaba, Benazir Bhutto Sahaba. We still have a lot of living leaders. But you see, these are just a few leaders. What we recommended, and it is still in the Election Act, that every party, political party, will make sure that women are given an opportunity to be part of the party structure, party hierarchy. But again, you can't make this as a law. Now, again, there was this phenomena of not letting women vote due to jirga ka faisla ho gaya. So what the Election Commission did was that, okay, if there is a constituency where women are not allowed to vote at a level that which is less than 10%, that result will not be announced. And lo and behold, suddenly it was all fine. There was only one seat in Shangla where the women did not come out to vote, and the Election Commission did not announce the result. And in the by-elections, 25% women came out to vote. So you see, this, if the state is serious, if it takes initiative, and if there is positive action, it pays. So my recommendation would be, and one interesting fact, in the 2008 elections, there were 16 directly elected women in the National Assembly. In 2013 election, the number was reduced to 9, and this time, despite everything, the directly elected women in the House were just 8. So you see, in a House of 272, there were just 8 women who were elected on direct vote, and rest are, of course, have been elected, or they have been selected by parties on proportional representation basis. So my point is that we, as electoral democracy, Pakistan must make efforts. Politicians must make efforts. We all must create this environment where public pressure is built on all state institutions, NADRA, Election Commission of Pakistan, Government of Pakistan, to make sure that, for instance, in the next elections, this gap between male and female registered voters is filled, and every woman is allowed to come out to vote.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, a question just came into my mind, that as you said, that in 2008 it was 16 and the number reduced to 8. So do you think that the local bodies was a nursery for the women to come out on general seats? So there was, because of the interactions, because of the local bodies, elections not being held on regular intervals, there was also a loss of that inertia. Do you think so?
It's partly true, But if you look back, and Dr. Saab is sitting here, he'll recall that in the Musharraf era, the Nazim, the district Nazim, there were very few who were actually ladies. I think in Jhang we had Begum Abda Saba's daughter, she was perhaps a Nazim, and some other lady perhaps. So you see, my own experience in the election commission is that the party leadership. Let me give you an example. When this law was being made, since I was part of that decision-making process in the parliament, so I don't have any qualms in sharing this information with you. The election commission proposed that every political party must have a certain % of women in its executive committee, let's say in its as vice president or as whatever. So all parties across the board opposed this suggestion. You can't force us to have women as members of our main, you see. So it is basically the mindset which has to be changed. Now, if you look at, you see, if you look at the gender gap report, why Bangladesh is at 79 and we are at 142? So we are all Muslims, the same subcontinental background, same colonial legacy that we had, but why they are doing this? Because I think the mindset is changing there, and some of the things that they have done we should also perhaps do. So this is like one thing. But of course I agree with you that generally speaking local governments do throw up very good female leadership, yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, Madam, you in an education field, okay, we just Baba Sahab just said that it's the mindset. So education is probably the field where we transform mindsets, and we hope so that education actually is the education institutions are the ones where the mindsets are being made. So from the nurseries to the universities where we are sitting. How do you see the gender stereotypes being, tackled in the education institutions, in the schools particularly, whether we are forming our mindsets and then coming to the colleges and universities? Because youth is the main driving force of Pakistan right now. So we have to focus on that. And as being said, that because of this mindset, we see this in every field. We will be talking about workplace and other things later on. But how do you see this mindset being developed?
Thank you very much. A very sensitive topic, I must say, very close to my heart as well, because I took it up as a purpose of my life, to change the life of a student and do something for him. And when I looked at towards the teacher who is going to transform him, she has nothing to offer. She was coming up from a frustrated house because she was maybe having a different subject, a career in her mind, but she got married and then the husband didn't give her permission. I'm just generalizing the situation. She was not being promoted and then not being given permission through the in-laws, and she was dished into doing a job so that the children can have fee concession and the timings will suit her. So this came out to be a boosting career for all the housewives who really want to improve themselves personally, because they were not allowed to do anything else. It was my purpose transformed from a student to a teacher, trainer, and then started building up a network of branches to make it more a female-oriented career path for the women, so they can be more comfortable taking it up. I know they had a lot of challenges and problems. I go through, because why the teacher is not coming, because the husband was not well, the in-law mother was not there, whatever. They had a lot of excuses, but we as women are trying to give them the best solution ever, and making sure that she is still becoming a dependable team member and is able to foresee her career and her dream in whatever she wanted, to have the financial stability and independence and still go for her dream. When I started with the school system, I had a lot of challenges. Again, as I say, I belong to a army family. That gave me a lethal background. then for being a home economist, and then having an MBA degree, wanted to do something bigger in life. But again, my father overprotected, my brother overprotected. So we as women have got challenges within our own family setup. बाहर को तो हम बाद में देखेंगे, बाहर से तो हम बाद में पूछेंगे ना. So हमारा तो अपनी जो stability है, we have to start with appreciation, encouragement from our own member of the family. This is what we really seek into. But I'm very, very fortunate that my father was my main forte, and then he was the support that he pushed me into this business, and now mashallah has expanded a lot. But for the same reason that I am standing here for women, again I had a very difficult background and a journey. That is why the book is there, because I found out that a lot many women had been thrown into different career, different situations, and everybody had a man in their life who transformed something, who took away a chunk of her self-esteem or authority or a piece of heart, a trust that pushed her to come out of the box and do something bigger in her life. So we should appreciate her rather than discouraging her. ये कहा जाता है कि एक औरत ही एक औरत को ख़राब कर रही होती है. I always say that we are not for empowerment. I'm not for empowerment because I'm already empowered. Because my religion, my constitution, my country, my family, everybody empowers me. So I'm not looking for any empowerment. I'm not looking for even equality, because I feel I have to accept the diversity and the differences between all genders as well. But at the same time, I need to propagate that we as women, because my network is female oriented, starting from a maid who is taking care of the children for the washroom to the setup, to me as the owner of the system. Majority of the team members are all female. They have been given a safer space. They have been given an understanding and compassion, empathy to understand the situation from where they are coming from. If they have to take a leave, or if they are on a maternity leave, if they have to take a leave for the child if he's sick. So we all understand. Even I have made my team, those who are as a teacher, it is very important element for me to make them understand that the mother who is a newborn child mother is always being pointed out and judged to have a degree or a PhD in motherhood the day she delivers. So we as teachers, we take her up that after 3 years, when the child is going to join us in the school, we will be the people who are going to take and give her the safe haven. Making sure that we are not going to point at why the child uniform is dirty, or why the food is not there, or why these things are not there, because we will understand as a woman, because we know what she has been going through in her lifespan. But again, for my setup, because see, I can represent the education department as such for the school level, which is the foundation. And I believe this foundation, we believe to have the holistic personality development of a child. And we don't give any difference between a boy or a girl. We take a child as a child. We don't have any discrimination ke bete ko ya ladke ko aise leke jana hai, ladki ko aise leke jana hai. Because if you see our results as well, our main progression, curriculum, planning, everything is based on our final exams, whether it's O-levels, A-levels or matriculation. And there is no gender to it. It's not that there's a separate theory or practical for girls or boys. This is what inclusion, and this is what we promote in our school system as well. This is what we fight and keep propagating and promoting and training the parents with as well. That double gender competition is a healthy competition. And again, this is what we believe in. All my setup is co-education. They are given equal opportunity to grow. The girls are never discriminated. They are given equal opportunity, whether it's sports, whether it's music, art, fashion, whatever, but with a disciplined organization. We are very particular about discipline. See, in my setup, I have understood that if we promote uniform for the teachers, even for my own self, for the students, that takes away a lot of irrelevant stuff that we provoke. This child is wearing this, or the mother is wearing this, or the teacher competition between brands. That is no more there. Then again, we don't allow mobiles. Mobile, we believe, is the main criminal thing that has been introduced in the system. And it is the drug that we are not trying to understand, that within the hand or the palm of the hand of a child is creating such a big fuss that we are unable to handle in the next gender to come. So no mobile, no fashion, total values, everything is being dictated to the children. Less choices are given, because I believe that my target market is lower middle, and I'm the one who is creating the masses, who is going to take the reign of the country, and they are the ones who are going to run Pakistan. But again, my request for all the vice chancellors, again, I had I'll say I'm blessed that I've got the opportunity to just make a small question, that you people are having university students who may be 27, 28 or 26, 27, less than that. They're already done with it. They're already done. They have got everything, whatever. You cannot change any product. The product is already there. You cannot make any changes in the genes, in the DNA. I have the 3-year-old with me. I can do a lot, many miracle things with them. I can motivate. I can give them a different career path. But I'm looking towards the universities. I'm looking towards your researches. What you people are giving us or offering us, which subject should they be teaching at the school level? Because after 10, 12 years, they'll be going into the career line. What career paths they can, opt for? Because there's no student counseling happening. Because see, we have named our generations. Like I'm baby boomers, right? Then there are millenniums. Then there are Gen Zs. And the next one is Generation X. So can you imagine in the universities, the baby boomers are teaching millennium who are going to do what? Like such a big age difference. So this is what I'm trying to say and asking, that every generation has got a 10-year agenda. So what research is going to give me that this generation X that I've got right now, what careers are they going to have? What AI, what nanotechnology, what career paths am I going to offer them? Is it the same curriculum which is from 1975 I'm going to follow with single national curriculum, and it is going to give something tremendously beautiful for them to have career? Why certain subjects are there in the college or universities which don't opt any career at all? Why they spend 4 years? Because the reason I'm just saying is because we take students from colleges and universities, the graduates, we take them on for the interviews. Honestly, they don't have anything to offer. Honestly, they don't have anything to offer. They are just having a baggage and nothing to offer. We again have to train them to come down to the level of a child, to understand a child. They don't have the grooming done from the university or college that we are looking for. So if we are talking about gender issues and all that, I think they are to be addressed in a very serious note, right? I'm there in the foundation level, but I'm trying to ask everybody, please guide me. I need your expertise. I need your experience. I need your knowledge, because I don't want to do anything wrong with this child who is going to take, because it's a relay race. We all have to give the baton to the next generation, thinking that they are more energized, they've got more expertise, they've got more wisdom than us. They'll be able to handle the future problems, because we are nowhere to dictate them, isn't it? So, thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. And also I'm glad that you have highlighted some of the very key issues we are facing in the school system particularly. And one of the very important issues is quality of education, for which even the universities are striving for. And the curriculum you mentioned, I must say that the curriculum is which is offered at the school and the college levels, it's been revised and upgraded regularly, and very recently it's been revised. I remember a few, maybe 15 years back, we did a gender analysis of the textbooks, of the primary textbooks, and we didn't found any images of female doctors or pilots, and Now it's been changed. Now we see some of the female role models also in the textbooks, and also the traditional stories of like रानी ने माँ के साथ काम करना शुरू किया और वो जो था बेटा वो खेतों में चला गया. So now there is been a little kind of change in the mindsets also. So the curriculum, I must say, it's been revised, but still it's a long way to go. To see.
Can I just mention, it's not about the curriculum. See, why there's a rat race of grades, marks, positions. See, when I'm talking about foundation of the school, it means only 10% makes the books. The rest is the personality. The 20 students have to make sure that socially, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, they're sound and safe. But we never get the chance to talk to the child about it because there's a big pressure of making them study. They always come up and say what homework are they having, which chapter they have done. These things are not important in the foundation. Why there's such a big chunk of curriculum? You know, a burden of books. So every year it was, I think, 10 kg, now it's 20 kg. But what are they getting at the end of the day? Nothing.
That's very true. That's what the quality of education actually makes up. That what the child is doing at the school and what he or she is learning from there. Is it only the textbooks which we are focusing on and we are stressing on that to do the rote memory for that and to get the good grades? I think there is a lot of discussion nowadays that what good grades mean. That actually by getting good grade, what personality a person actually have.
It has got nothing to do with the personality or the grades, are the two different things.
Yeah, but like, you know, the thing is that there must, what I understand is that particularly at the school level, it should be a kind of, not a kind of, you know, the summative evaluations which we take at the end of a year or things like that. It should be a kind of continuous, yeah, and there must be a space in the classroom environment where we talk about other things, you know, as we are focusing on civic education, for example. So there's a lot of aspects, and as you said, that at the universities in the early 20s we have the youth with us, and they have already set up their minds about some of the very key concepts. For example, peace, for example, freedom has been written, and importantly, gender equality. When we talk to them, particularly at the Department of Gender Studies, we got very stubborn answers, you know, and it takes us a lot to discuss. So what is absent in the school particularly is discussion.
Yes.
Is the brainstorming.
Simple discussion.
Yeah. And when you said of the teachers, I to some extent agree that yes, this is a profession being taken up particularly at the school by the ones who are not getting very much in their careers and they opt for it, but it's been changing now also. I see it like that. I see many young women and the men also joining the school education who are very good in education, who actually aspire to be educators. A question just, when I was listening, I just asked to ask Madam, that do you see, you said that you have been doing trainings for the gender mainstreaming for different departments. What about when we talk about school education? We have, I know we have DSDs, we have institutions who do the trainings, but what about the particular gender, the mindset? When we see, when as I said, that when the students come to us, they have a very particular mindset about gender equality, the rights of women and other things, which we face later on in different shapes at the workplace, at the electoral scene, in media we will be talking about, everywhere, in every walk of life. So what about the school particularly?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, certainly, like Madam said, you know, the schools are the foundation for who we become later on. And certainly, sort of, you know, and that is what the society will be shaped like also, depending upon what, how the schools form the children. We at Women Development, our mandate obviously sort of, you know, extends to anything that is related with women and girls, and in terms of sort of, you know, promoting the equality and sort of kind of, you know, doing away with gender stereotypes. And the training is one aspect of it. Then we have our policy also, and we have action plans related to that. And the curriculum that is being taught, the kind of the discourse in schools is very much part of our agenda. To be honest, we do struggle with actually implementing these things, because Women Development Department is a fairly new department, and in the public sector, there's the problem is that interdepartmental coordination, collaboration is still very weak. While we are very aware that no department is can work as an island, that every department is linked with every other department, and nothing very substantive can be achieved without this kind of institutionalized interaction. However, in practice, we see that this kind of collaboration and connectedness is very much. It needs a lot of work. We have, but we do. This is something that we have a Punjab Commission on the Status of Women as a special institution, and they also take up these issues. We have established 18 women development centers in 18 public sector universities, and that's another platform that we would like to use to talk about these issues and provide a platform for training. We've come across a lot of research and in our also direct experience, where, like you mentioned, that there has been some change, but still a lot of stereotyping is being done in textbooks. And there was a study in which they picked out how many times women were mentioned in school books and how many times men were mentioned, and the men were mentioned many more times than women. So the the presence of women in what we read about women, the kind of images, the kind of the training that teachers get, all of this, what we see in society today in terms of discrimination, in terms of violence against women, had we had the kind of education which requires children to respect each other irrespective of gender, and like Madam said, that she has co-education institutions. I'm very much a proponent of actually co-education. Yes, that a lot of work needs to be done in that area. And I think it's still work in progress.
Okay, being in the media, do you see any, presently, do you see any kind of gender transformation in the roles, or the stereotypes that people were facing 10, 20 years back, and now you can say that these are the ones which are being, broken, and now we have more opportunities, or still we are living on with the ones we just had.
Thank you. मुझे लगता है पर्सनली कि ये टॉपिक बहुत वास्ट है, एंड अभी मेरे जो मौजूद पैनलिस्ट थे उन सब ने अपनी राय का इस पर इजहार किया. अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आर ऑलवेज देयर, तब भी थी, आज भी मौजूद हैं. अभी मैं देख रही थी जब हम ये पढ़ रहे थे कि मसीही, सिख, हिंदू और मुसलमान हम सबका है पाकिस्तान, और टू मी जेंडर इंक्लूसिविटी इज़ समथिंग जहाँ पर एक मर्द और ख़ातून उस माशरे में महफूज रहें. और अभी जब हम ये बात कर रहे हैं तो जड़ावाला में एक चर्च जलाया जा रहा है. सो द प्रॉब्लम इज़ कि एक बच्चा जो कि स्कूल में तकरीबन 5 से 6 घंटे गुजारता है, हम उसका माइंड कितना तब्दील कर सकते हैं एजुकेशन और करिकुलम के ज़रिए, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली उस बच्चे ने वापस अपने उसी घर में जाना है जहाँ पर उसकी वालिदा या उसके वालिद मौजूद हैं, जो कि उसको, चाहे वो बच्ची है या बच्चा है, उसको स्नब भी करेंगे, उसको गाइडलाइंस भी देंगे, उसको ये भी बताएंगे कि उसने किस तरह का काम करना है या नहीं करना है. कुछ 1-2 दिन पहले मेरी नज़र से एक पोस्ट गुजरी इंस्टाग्राम पे, चूँकि रील्स और सोशल मीडिया इज़ वेरी एक्टिव, और हमें किसी को नसीहत करनी हो, सो वी एक्चुअली मेक द रील्स एंड जस्ट फॉरवर्ड इट टू आवर सर्कल ऑफ फ्रेंड्स. तो उसके अंदर एक कोट तो नहीं थी, बट किसी ने क्लाइंट फॉरवर्ड की हुई थी कि बाप के बाद औरत का सबसे मजबूत सहारा उसकी महाना आमदन है. सो आई पर्सनली रियली लाइक दैट, बिकॉज ये वो थॉट है जो कि शायद कुछ लोगों को अच्छा ना लगे कि महाना आमदन कैसे मजबूत सहारा हो सकती है, लेकिन इन द सोसाइटी लाइक पाकिस्तान, जहाँ पर हम इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ की बात करते हैं, وہاں پر ہم یہ بھول جاتے ہیں کہ ایک خاتون کو اگر ایک اچھی ڈاوری دی جا رہی ہے, ایجوکیشن بھی دی جا رہی ہے, کئی والدین ڈگریز بھی دلا دیتے ہیں, لیکن انہیں کام کرنے کا حق نہیں دیتے, انہیں امپاور کرنے کا حق نہیں دیتے, انہیں کمانے کا حق نہیں دیتے. ایک ریسنٹ سروے میں دیکھ رہی تھی جس میں ابھی بھی 40% خواتین ہمارے معاشرے کی اور ہمارے ملک کی ایسی ہیں جنہیں اپنے ان لاز اور اپنے شوہر سے پرمیشن لینی پڑتی ہے کہ وہ کام کریں یا نہ کریں. تو سوال یہاں پر یہ ہے کہ ہمارا کریکولم, ہمارا میڈیا, ہمارے لوگ کتنا یہ ایٹیٹیوڈ چینج کر سکتے ہیں کہ ہم اپنے گھروں میں اس بچے کی جو پرورش کر رہے ہیں اس کو یہ بتائیں کہ آپ نے اپنی سوسائٹی میں رہ کر ایک جینڈر کو ایکول اپرچونیٹیز پروپیگیٹ کرنے کا رویہ اپنے ذہن میں کیسا رکھنا ہے. میں زیادہ دور نہیں جاؤں گی, اپنے ہی گھر کی اگر میں مثال دوں تو میری بچی کے ساتھ اگر میری ملازمہ کی بچی کھیلنے آتی ہے تو میرے جو گھر کے بڑے بزرگ ہیں ان کا رویہ چونکہ تھوڑے سے آرتھوڈاکس ہے, ان کا رویہ اس کے ساتھ اس طرح نہیں ہوتا, اور کئی دفعہ میری بچی کو کہا جاتا ہے کہ جسٹ ڈونٹ پلے ود دیم, اور ڈسٹینس پہ بیٹھو یا ساتھ نہ کھاؤ یا ساتھ نہ پھرو. تو بات سوال یہاں پر یہ ہوتا ہے کہ پھر جب ہم جینڈر ایکوالٹی کی بات کرتے ہیں تو ہمارے جو معاشرتی طبقات ہیں جن میں غریب بھی ہیں, امیر بھی ہیں, مڈل کلاس بھی ہیں, ہم اپنے بچے کو, ہم اپنے نوجوان کو اس رویوں میں تبدیلی کیسے لائیں؟ آیا وہ میڈیا کے ذریعے لائیں, آیا وہ کریکولم کے ذریعے لائیں؟ جو سوسائٹی کے اندر تبدیلی چاہیے, مجھے لگتا ہے ہمارے لیے سب سے بڑا چیلنج ہے کہ ہم سوسائٹی کا رویہ کیسے تبدیل کریں. آپ نے میڈیا کے حوالے سے بات کی, جب میں نے جوائن کیا آج سے کچھ 10 سے 12 سال پہلے, شامی صاحب یہاں پر بیٹھے ہیں, السلام علیکم سر, سو ہی مائٹ ایگری کہ خواتین کو تب تھوڑی مشکلات اینکرز کو ہوتی تھیں فیلڈ کو جوائن کرنے میں, لیکن اب نہیں ہوتی. اب بہت زیادہ اپرچونیٹیز ہیں, لیکن اب بات یہ ہے کہ کوالٹی اس طرح نہیں ہے. تو سوال پھر وہی ہے کہ ایک بچی یا ایک لڑکی جو کام کرنے کے لیے نکلتی ہے اور تقریباً 8 گھنٹے کی ڈیوٹی ہوتی ہے, شفٹ ہوتی ہے, جس طرح ابھی زیشان صاحبہ نے بھی بات کی, ایک وہ خاتون جس کا ایک نیو بورن ہے, میرے ساتھ یہ اب میرا پرسنل ایکسپیرینس ہے, میں آپ کے ساتھ شیئر کرنے والی ہوں وداؤٹ نیمنگ دا چینل, کہ جب میری بیٹی پیدا ہوئی سو مجھے فورسفلی, بیکاز دے سیڈ کہ آپ سینئر اینکر ہیں, سو 5 to 1 کی آپ کو شفٹ کرنی پڑے گی. اور میرا پہلا سوال ان کے ساتھ یہ تھا کہ سر میری بیٹی چھوٹی ہے, اور آبویسلی وہ 2-3 مہینے کی بچی ہے, وہ مدر فیڈ پہ ہے. میرے دماغ میں سوال تھے بٹ نہیں سنی گئی, اینڈ آئی واز فورسڈ ٹو ڈو دیٹ. ایون چینلس کے اندر بھی کوئی چائلڈ ڈے کیئر سینٹرز آج تک موجود نہیں ہیں. آپ اپرچونیٹیز کام کرنے کی بے شک بے تحاشا دے دیں, لیکن اس اپرچونیٹیز میں بھی اگر خواتین سنب ہو رہی ہیں اور آپ کے ایٹیٹیوڈ کے تھرو, آپ کی ٹونٹس کے تھرو, آپ کے رویوں کے تھرو کسی بھی طرح ہرڈلز کریٹ کیے جا رہی ہیں, سو وہ عورت پرفارم بھی اس طرح نہیں کر پائے گی. میں کس طرح پرفارم کر پائی جب مجھے یہ پتا ہے کہ 5 to 1 مجھے جاب کرنی ہے اور میری بیٹی پیچھے موجود ہے, اور مجھے میرا دماغ پہ یہ بات تھی کہ اس کو فیڈ کرانی ہے, تو پھر کیسے کرانی ہے. سو مجھے لگتا ہے کہ آج کل کے معاشرے میں بھی چینج گھر سے ہی شروع ہوگا, وہ گورنمنٹ سے نہیں ہوگا, وہ اسکول انسٹیٹیوشن سے نہیں ہوگا. اگر ساس اپنا رویہ اپنی بہو کے لیے تبدیل نہیں کرے گی, شوہر اس مائنڈ سیٹ سے باہر نہیں نکلے گا کہ بیوی کو کام کرنے کے لیے اس کی اجازت کی ضرورت ہے, یا پھر یہ سوچ کہ چونکہ بچوں کی فیس آدھی ہو جائے گی تو تم تب کام کر لینا, اس سوچ سے نکلنا بہت ضروری ہے.
جی تھینک یو سو مچ. یہ شاید پرسنلی بھی میں ہمیشہ اس بات کے اوپر کنونسڈ ہوں کہ جو کریئرز ہیں, جب ہم بہت ساری لڑکیاں پنجاب یونیورسٹی کے, میں آپ کو ایک مثال دوں, ہم ہمیشہ اپنے کانویگیشنس پہ دیکھتے ہیں کہ لڑکیاں جو ہیں وہ آؤٹ اسکور کرتی ہیں بوائز, اور آپ ایک دفعہ ہمارے بھائی صاحب نے کہا کہ ایسا لگتا ہے کہ یہ ویمن یونیورسٹی کا کانویکیشن ہے, کیونکہ اس قدر لڑکیاں گولڈ میڈل ضرور لیتی ہیں. لیکن دا کوشچن اگین رائزز دیٹ ویئر دیز گرلز ایکچولی گو آفٹر دا گریجویشنس, پھر وہ ہمیں کیوں نظر نہیں آتی. اینڈ دس از دا رائٹلی پوائنٹڈ آؤٹ کہ جو کریئرز ہیں اس میں خواتین کیوں نظر نہیں آتی, کیوں conducive environments نہیں ہیں. Is it because only of the homes, or is it the workplace also which contributes and which actually hinders the parents also to send their daughters to have careers? کیونکہ یہاں صرف apprehensions لڑکیوں کی نہیں ہیں, پیرنٹس کی بھی ہیں. We must consider that also کہ جب being a parent ہم اپنی بچی کو بھیج رہے ہیں, so what are the apprehensions the parents have? Workplace harassment, and there are other issues. ابھی آپ نے JK کی بات کی,
میڈم اس پہ بات کریں گی. دے ہیو پالیسی آن ڈے کیئرز. So why we don't create a conducive environment at the workplace? What are the hurdles? کیوں یہ ہم ہی لوگ ہیں سب جو مل کے ایک ورک پلیس بناتے ہیں, تو وہ کیوں کنڈیوسو نہیں ہے فار دا گرلز پرٹیکولرلی ٹو جوائن؟ میں بابا صاحب آپ سے چاہوں گی کہ آپ تھوڑا اس پہ بات کریں.
جی تھینک یو. میں پھر واپس اسی تھیم پہ آؤں گا. میں آپ کو واپس لے کے چلتا ہوں. اگر ہم ارلی 60s میں جائیں تو امریکہ میں کالوں کو ووٹ دینے کا روکا جاتا تھا. میں یہ نہیں کہتا ہوں کہ حق نہیں تھا, روکا جاتا تھا مختلف طریقوں سے. اگین اس میں ایک طریقہ یہ تھا ان کو ڈس انفرینچائز کرنے کا کہ ان کو ووٹ رجسٹر کرنے میں دشواری رکھی جاتی تھی. مثلاً ان کے ووٹ رجسٹریشن کے دفاتر دور بنا دیے جاتے تھے, ان کی سرٹیفکیشن مشکل ہو جاتی تھی. تو پہلی دفعہ 1964 میں وہاں پہ انہوں نے امریکن ووٹنگ رائٹ ایکٹ ایک لے کے آئے. اس ووٹنگ ایکٹ کے تحت کالوں کو بھی ان کے کے برابر تقریباً بولے آئے. اس کا پولیٹیکل سائنس میں کہتے ہیں کہ بہت بڑا امپیکٹ یہ ہوا کہ اس کے اکنامک فائدے کالوں کو بہت ملے. وین دے بیکیم ووٹرز, تو گوروں نے ان کے پاس ووٹ مانگنے کے لیے جانا شروع کر دیا. اس کے اندر یہ اکنامک فیکٹ ہے کہ گورے کی اور کالے کی ویجز برابر ہو گئی. نو کمنگ اگین ٹو جو آپ نے سوال کیا ہے, میں اپنی یہاں پہ لے کے آتا ہوں. دیکھیے, اگر میں نے آپ کو کچھ فگرز کوٹ کیے, میں ایک اور فیکٹ آپ سے کوٹ کرتا ہوں کہ ہمارے ہاں جتنے شناختی کارڈ بنتے ہیں, ان شناختی کارڈ میں سے خواتین کی جو شناختی کارڈوں کی شرح ہے وہ صرف 74% ہے ایز کمپیئر ٹو مین. اس کا مطلب یہ ہوا کہ نہ صرف یہ کہ وہ ایز ووٹر رجسٹر نہیں ہوتی ہیں, ان کے شناختی کارڈ بھی نہیں بنتے ہیں, اور شناختی کارڈ نہ بننے سے ان کی جو مختلف فائدے اٹھا سکتی ہیں بینکنگ کے یا مختلف گورنمنٹ کی اسکیمز کے, وہ فائدے بھی وہ نہیں اٹھاتی ہیں. تو وہ جو دیکھیں, وہ جو پولیٹیکل پاور ہے خواتین کی, وہ انلیش نہیں ہوتی. میرا مقصد یہ ہے کہ دیکھیں 3 لیولز ہیں نا, ہم سب پڑھتے ہیں کہ ایک ہاؤس ہولڈ لیول ہے, ایک انڈیویجول لیول ہے, اور ایک آپ کا جیسے کہتے ہیں کانٹیکسچول لیول ہے, ایک لارجر سوشل لیول ہے. تو اس لارجر کانٹیکسچول لیول میں جب اسٹیٹ جو ہے یا اسٹیٹ کے ادارے یا ہم سب مل کے دیکھیں, ہم نے اتنی بڑی بڑی خواتین ہمارے یہاں ملک میں آئی ہیں, شامی صاحب تشریف رکھتے ہیں, جانتے ہیں کہ کیسی کیسی ہستیاں پیدا ہوئی, لیکن ایٹ دا سیم ٹائم بائی ہم گلوبل جو جینڈر انڈیکس ہیں اس کے پھر بھی نیچے. اس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ نمبر 1 ریاستی ادارے خواتین کو وہ ان کی جو پولیٹیکل پاور ہے انلیش کرنے میں سپورٹ نہیں کر رہے ہیں. میری تھیم یہ ہے, اور وہ اس وقت تک سپورٹ نہیں ہوگی. دیکھیں, اس میں لارجر فلسافیکل ڈبیٹ میں جانے کی ضرورت ہی نہیں ہے. بڑی بیسک چیز ہے کہ آپ ان کو آدمیوں کے برابر ووٹر تو رجسٹر ہونے دیں. جب تک آپ ان کو دیکھیں, 1.25 کروڑ خواتین اس وقت ایز ووٹر رجسٹرڈ ہی نہیں ہیں, تو آپ دیکھیں اس سے فرق پڑتا ہے. تو ان کی پولیٹیکل پاور انلیش نہیں ہوتی. میں آپ کو ایک چھوٹی سی مثال کے ساتھ پھر ختم کروں گا. مثلاً ایک لا میں لکھا ہوا ہے کہ ہر پولیٹیکل پارٹی 5% ٹکٹیں کم از کم خواتین کو دیں گے. اس کا مقصد لا کا یہ تھا کہ جی ان کو پولیٹیکل فیلڈ میں آنے کا موقع ملنا چاہیے. اب پولیٹیکل پارٹیز کرتی کیا ہیں کہ وہ جو 5% سیٹیں ہیں وہ ایسے حلقوں میں دیتی ہیں جہاں پہ ان کو پتہ ہے کہ ہم نے جتنا نہیں. تو کاغذوں میں جب وہ آتے ہیں لے کے الیکشن کمیشن کے پاس کہ جی دیکھیں ہم نے 5% ٹکٹیں دے دی ہیں, تو وہ ایسی جگہوں پہ ہوتی ہیں جہاں پہ وہ جیت ہی نہیں سکتی ہیں. اس کا نتیجہ یہ ہے کہ کوئی بھی نہیں جیتتی. سو یہ جو پولیٹیکل, یہ جو پالیسی, میرا ویو یہ ہے کہ جب تک پالیسی میکنگ لیول پہ خواتین افیکٹو رول ادا نہیں کریں گی, ان میں سے کافی سارے مسائل حل نہیں ہوں گے, انکلوڈنگ جیسے ہمارے تھے ڈی کے سینٹر کا. میں آپ کو الیکشن کمیشن کی ایک مثال دے سکتا ہوں. ایکچوئل ہم 2016 میں ایک الیکشن دیکھنے گئے جو ٹرمپ صاحب کا تھا, تو میرے ساتھ چیف الیکشن کمشنر بھی تھے. تو انہوں نے ہمیں ملاقات کروائی وہاں کے الیکشن کمیشنر صاحب سے. تو انہوں نے کہا جی کہ میں آپ کا 2008 کا الیکشن دیکھنے آیا تھا. تو میں بڑا حیران ہوا کہ الیکشن کمیشن کی بلڈنگ میں خواتین کے لیے واش روم نہیں تھے. یعنی کہ الیکشن کمیشن کی اپنی بلڈنگ میں خواتین کے لیے سیپریٹ باتھ روم نہیں تھا. دس از اے فیکٹ. سو یو سی, ہم اتنا بڑا ملک ہیں, اتنی بڑی سوسائٹی ہیں, تو یہ چھوٹی چھوٹی چیزیں ہیں. اب ہوا کیا, الیکشن کمیشن میں ایک خاتون ممبر آ گئی. آتے ہی انہوں نے کہا جی کہ کدھر ہیں خواتین کے واش روم, تو چینج ہو گیا. یو سی, سو پالیسی میکنگ لیول پہ خواتین کو, اسٹیٹ کو وہ پاور ان کی انلیش کرنی چاہیے تاکہ وہ वो रसीद ले सकें। जैसे अभी मैडम हैं, इस तरह की और सैकड़ों ख़वातीन आए और
बहुत शुक्रिया मैडम, आपसे आपकी डे केयर पॉलिसी के बारे में
जी।
ज़रूर और कंड्यूसिव वर्क एनवायरनमेंट ऑल्सो।
जी जी, थैंक यू, देयर सो मेनी थिंग्स टू टॉक अबाउट दिस। एक तो मैं डे केयर सेंटर की मैं बात करती हूँ। हम देखिए जब हम बात करते हैं ना जेंडर की, जो पहले बात हुई थी, तो जितने भी इंस्टीट्यूशंस बने हुए हैं वो कोई पत्थर पे लकीर तो नहीं है ना। इंस्टीट्यूशंस जो हैं वो चेंज होते हैं, रिफॉर्म होते हैं, और अभी जो हमारे बहुत से इंस्टीट्यूशंस और स्ट्रक्चर्स बने हुए हैं वो एक जो है उसमें मेल इज़ एट द सेंटर ऑफ दोज इंस्टीट्यूशंस, और वो एक पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी के अंदर जो है वो बने हैं, इवॉल्व हुए हैं, डेवलप हुए हैं। बट हम ये समझते हैं कि बस यही है और इसी के अंदर अपने आप को फिट करना है। एक्चुअली ये नहीं है। सो समझने वाली बात यह है कि यू हैव टू हैव ऑल जेंडर्स एट द सेंटर ऑफ योर पॉलिसीज, एट द सेंटर ऑफ योर लॉज एंड योर इंस्टीट्यूशंस, एंड देन बिल्ड एंड इवॉल्व इंस्टीट्यूशंस अराउंड देयर रिक्वायरमेंट्स, देयर नीड्स। तो जिस तरह मैंने भी बात की है कि अब जब आप व्हेन यू आर अ न्यू मदर, ऑब्वियसली आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ होती हैं, तो वो तो एक चीज़ है टू बी सेलिब्रेटेड, नॉट टू बी मिलिटेटेड अगेंस्ट यू, और नॉट टू काइंड ऑफ डिस्क्रिमिनेट यू अगेंस्ट समथिंग विच इज़ एक्चुअली अ कंट्रीब्यूटर टू सोसाइटी. It's not an individual, it's about a society. Producing children, looking after children is something which is a contribution to society. And sort of discriminating women on the basis of their biology is one of the worst kinds of discrimination. So उसमें हमें जो है and then वही वाली stereotyping की बात है कि ठीक है, biologically women produce children, but the rest of the other things, sort of looking after children, doing the housework is something that has to be sort of divided and shared, you see. So जब हम घर में भी shared responsibility लेंगे, और जब हम फिर जो है कि स्पेस ज़्यादा औरतों को मिलेगी कि बाहर भी वो काम कर सकें, and they sort of follow their aspirations and their dreams. And obviously for men also it's very important to kind of become more humanized, more sort of to learn the fact that sort of as a not to try to fit into kind of given masculine roles, but to be more who they themselves are, to kind of explore those parts of their personalities which are very important to make them as whole human beings, but which they suppress. So the thing is that so that is one thing. The other thing is so we require institutions to be more flexible, to kind of come creativity is unlimited, to find ways of ensuring that both men and women are able to sort of to kind of follow their aspirations, dreams, to work properly, effectively, keeping in view the various other requirements and sort of responsibilities that they have. That is one thing. The other thing is that specifically talking about daycare centers, the government of Punjab has had a policy from 2012 in terms of enabling environment for women and for affirmative action. That's why we have a 15% quota here for women in government jobs, and that has really helped a lot. And we have the highest quota because in other provinces 10% है. तो अभी हम देखते हैं कि बहुत से जो traditionally obviously direct seats पे भी आती हैं, लेकिन कोटे से भी बड़ी हेल्प हुई है कि ट्रेडिशनली मेन डोमिनेटर्स से मैंने आज बात करी थी कि इरिगेशन डिपार्टमेंट में अब हम देखते हैं कि काफ़ी औरतें आ गई हैं, जो पहले बहुत ज़्यादा मेल डोमिनेटेड होता था. डे केयर सेंटर की हमारी पॉलिसी, हम पब्लिक सेक्टर के लिए डे केयर सेंटर के लिए हम फंडिंग देते हैं, और उसमें हम फंडिंग देते हैं फॉर फर्नीचर, इक्विपमेंट, दोज थिंग्स एज वेल. एंड फॉर 1 year हम देते हैं उनके जो स्टाफ है उसकी तनख्वाहों का देते हैं. After 1 year we expect them to then sort of employ their own people, and what we require from them is a room with certain specification and a washroom. So वो तो हम उनको देते हैं. It's substantial funding. And अभी काफ़ी हमारे बन गए हैं डे केयर सेंटर्स, और अभी obviously sort of we're getting a lot of applications. अभी बहुत जगहों पे ये माइंडसेट चेंज होना है, बिकॉज जो बहुत से आपके पीपल डिसीजन मेकिंग में, जो सर ने भी बात की कि वी नीड, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर वुमेन टू बी इन डिसीजन मेकिंग पोजीशंस, बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ मेन डोंट कंसिडर इट अ प्रायोरिटी. हालांकि डे केयर सेंटर कैन ऑल्सो बी अप्लाइड फॉर बाय मेन. It's not just an exclusive कि women वहाँ काम कर रही हैं, fathers can bring their children. So that's one thing. The other thing is we established working women hostels which are open both for the private sector and the public sector. At the moment we have 16 working women hostels, but we have a policy of sort of making them all over the province. Then we've also passed a law whereby we regulate the working women hostels in the private sector, because उसमें बहुत वेरिएशन होती है इसकी क्वालिटी की और सिक्योरिटी की. And then separate washrooms again is a policy since 2012, and bilkul it's a very very sad reflection of things that we went to Sialkot اور وہاں پبلک ہاسپٹل تھا اور وہاں ڈاکٹرز ہمیں کہہ رہی ہیں کہ ہماری 24/7 یہاں ڈیوٹی ہوتی ہے, ہمارے یہاں کوئی واش روم نہیں ہے, ہم ساتھ میکڈونلڈس جاتے ہیں واش روم یوز کرنے کے لیے. سو آئی مین ان دس ڈے اینڈ ایج بٹ اینڈ دیٹس دا ریالٹی, بٹ وی ہیو اے پالیسی اینڈ اگین ناؤ اٹس بین ٹیکن اپ ایٹ دا ہائیسٹ لیول. سو آئی ایم ویری ہوپ فل دیٹ وی ول سی چینج.
ٹرانسجینڈر کا جو ایشو ہے وہ اتنا سمپلسٹک ہے نہیں جتنا ہم سمجھ رہے ہیں, اور سم ٹائمز ہم اس کو کنفیوز بھی کرتے ہیں. وہ جو ایک تھرڈ جینڈر ہے جو جس کی ایک فزیکل ڈسیبلٹی ہوتی ہے یا فزیکل فالٹ ہوتا ہے اس کی باڈی میں, وہ نہ مرد ہے نہ عورت ہے, وہ ایک الگ چیز ہے. اور ٹرانس وہ ہے جو اپنے آپ کو ایک کسی خاص جینڈر کے ساتھ آئیڈینٹیفائی کرتا رہا یا آئیڈینٹیفائی ہوتا رہا ایدر ایز وومن اور مین, اور پھر کسی لیٹر سٹیج پہ جا کے وہ اپنی اس آئیڈینٹیفیکیشن کو تبدیل کرتا ہے اور وہ ڈکلیئر کرتا ہے. یعنی پہلے وہ وومن تھی اور پھر اس نے کسی اسٹیج پہ جا کے ٹرانس کیا, چینج کیا, اور اس نے کہا نہیں جی میں تو آئی ووڈ لائک ٹو بی آئیڈینٹیفائڈ ایز اے مین, یا آدمی تھا اور اس نے بعد میں کہا کہ نہیں آئی ووڈ لائک ٹو بی آئیڈینٹیفائڈ ایز اے وومن. اس میں بہت فریڈمس دنیا بھر میں آئی, ہمارے پاس بھی باہر ہی سے یہ سارا کانسیپٹ فریڈم کا ہے اور ایک لا بھی پاس ہوا, مگر ریسنٹلی ایون وہ جو جہاں سے یہ انیشیٹ ہوئے تھے آئیڈیاز وہاں پہ بھی پرابلمس ہونے شروع ہو گئے ہیں. So after you recognize the transgenders, you will no more have two genders. You will perhaps have 4 or 5 genders. Male ہے, female ہے, trans male, trans female, اور ایک شاید وہ جو کسی جینڈر کے ساتھ آئیڈینٹیفائی نہیں کر رہا. جو ایک بہت ریسنٹ ایشو ہوا ہے, بہت ہائی لائٹ ہوا ہے باہر کی دنیا میں, وہ یہ کہ ایک آدمی تھا, ایک آدمی ہے ایکچولی جو سوئمر ہے, اور ملٹیپل ٹائمز وہ سوئمنگ کمپٹیشنز میں, اولمپکس میں یا باقی کمپٹیشنز میں وہ ایز اے مین پارٹیسپیٹ کرتا رہا, جیت نہیں سکا. تو پھر اس کو خیال آیا کہ اف آئی کین کمپیٹ ود ویمن آئی ول بی اے ونر. تو اس نے اپنے آپ کو ٹرانسجینڈر فیمیل ڈکلیئر کیا اور عورتوں کے کمپٹیشن میں حصہ لیا اور اس نے عورتوں کا ریکارڈ بنا دیا. تو اس پہ پھر شور مچ گیا کہ واٹ از دس, دس از این انفیئر گیم, مین کین ناٹ کمپیٹ ود ویمن. سملرلی آپ کا جو واش رومس کا یا ریسٹ رومس کا آپ کا کانسیپٹ ہے کہ آدمیوں کے علیحدہ اور عورتوں کے علیحدہ ہونے چاہیے, تو ایک مرد جو عورت کے روپ میں آ جاتا ہے اس کو ظاہر ہے خواتین اس کو ایون یو نن آف یو وڈ لائک ٹو الاؤ ہم ان یور واش روم. تو یہ اتنا سمپلسٹک ایشو نہیں ہے. سو ٹرانس از سم تھنگ ایلس, اٹس ناٹ جسٹ دیٹ تھرڈ جینڈر جس کو ہم ایز اے فزیکل افیکٹ.
تھینک یو سو مچ ڈاکٹر صاحب, بالکل صحیح کہا ابھی یہاں کہ وی نیڈ پرابلی مور ٹائم اینڈ ڈیز ٹو ڈسکس, اور صرف ٹرانس پہ بات کرنی ہو تو شاید بہت سارے دن چاہیے, بٹ ڈیفینیٹلی وی ہیو ٹو کنکلوڈ دا نیکسٹ سیشن. پینلسٹ آر ہیئر, اور ڈاکٹر صاحب نے بات کی, سو دیر آر مور دین 4, دیر آر ملٹیپل سیکشل اورینٹیشنس. اسی پہ بات کریں تو شاید 8 دن گزر جائیں. تو آئی وڈ لائک ٹو تھینک مائی پینلسٹ, ویری آنریبل ونس, اور میرا خیال ہے جتنی ڈسکشن یہاں ہوئی اس سے دیر آر ویری فروٹفل, ویل تھاٹ, قسم کے آئیڈیاز آئے ہیں, بہت ساری چیزیں ہیں جو شاید انسان فوڈ فار تھاٹ لے کے بھی جائیں. میں صرف اینڈ میں یہ بات کہوں گی, سارے ڈسکورس میں ایک چیز ضرور سامنے آئی کہ جو میل پارٹیسپیشن ہے ان دا جینڈر ڈسکورس, کیونکہ ابھی تک ہم بہت ساری بات ویمن رائٹس اور اس کی کرتے ہیں. آئی تھنک دیٹ از ناٹ کمپلیٹ until unless there is participation and active participation by the males. So I thank you my honorable audience, my vice chancellors and the distinguished guests for so much interest in the topic and listening to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And ek minute, last but not the least, ڈاکٹر شاہد صاحب کا بہت شکریہ کہ انہوں نے یہ ٹاپک جو ہے آج کی ڈسکشن کے لیے رکھا اور موقع دیا تمام لوگوں کو اس پہ تھوڑا سا برین اسٹارمنگ کا. تھینک یو سو مچ.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raana. Now I would request Chairman Punjab Higher Education Commission, Professor Dr. Shahid Munir and Ms. Saeeda Deep to please come forward to distribute souvenir among the panelists. Mr. Babar, Yaqub, Fateh Mohammed. Ms. Zeeshan Raja. Ms. Zeeshan Raja is requested to please come forward to receive your souvenir. Ms. Iqra, she is an Iqra person